LinkedIn. It's a positive reflection of you. I want you to treat it like a hologram of you meeting someone. If you meet people in person in the street, you walk up to them and you go, hello, it's good to meet Martin Brossman. I hope you enjoy talking to me. Then write the third person on your LinkedIn as well. Richard Nixon apparently did this, if anyone knows who that is still. He spoke of himself in third person. I and Greg are an advocate of first person for the summary. They're meeting you. It's a digital first impression of you. Think of it like that. Imagine if there was a hologram of you and they could meet and ask questions to. Would it just say, welcome to Martin Brossman, looking for opportunities that? It wouldn't. And the problem is, I grew up in a world where there were resumes and there wasn't a LinkedIn, so I didn't know any better till I worked on it for many years and found out what grabbed people's attention more. Fill out your profile with content and a photo. Amazing how many headhunters tell me people still don't have a photo. Guess what? If you're worried about age discrimination, they'll do the math on the first interview. You need to sell it. You need to show them you're a dinosaur that tap dance. That was someone's quote. I worked with him. He says, I still feel a little like a dinosaur, but now I can tap dance. You need to sell it. If they don't like blonde hair, well, guess what? They're going to figure it out. Let's take what we have and market it. Quality recommendations, endorsements. How do you start getting those? Who said that? Yes. Get them by giving them. Make a list of 10 quality people. Either you personally met, went to a class on job hunting, just kidding, or have known for many years, and take the time to actually connect to them on LinkedIn and write them a recommendation. And then contact them. Because you don't know what they're doing. If you knew them like 20 years ago, let's say, and you happened to connect to them on LinkedIn and wrote them a recommendation that they were the best field manager you ever had at IBM, how do we know what contacts they have? You now have given added value to somebody in your job search, not just ask for something. How many people have done that? Great. Next time we all meet, let's have everyone's hand up. List of 10 people of value, write a recommendation for them. One of the stories is I was standing in for someone in a business international networking group. It's for self-employed and small businesses. And a guy stood up when I was there and he says, I owe my career to you. Something like that. And I looked over and this young man, a nice suit, was there and I couldn't remember him. And he came up to me and he says, you came into a Best Buy and I helped you. And you asked me why was I still working here, that I was too smart to be in this job. And I told you that my dream was to work in a retail business towards owning it. And you got me to get my LinkedIn profile going and said, if I did it, you'd write a recommendation because I saved you. And the kid said, I didn't think I did that much. Wrote him a recommendation. A owner of a rapid refill cartridge place found it, was looking for someone like him, read my recommendation and hired him. That's value I could give without having money, do you see? That's a pay it forward I can do in a time when usually most of our self-esteem's about that big when we're job hunting. Share content and engagement. You find something that you think's worthy of people's attention, you could share it on LinkedIn. Now they've changed it, so it's a little harder for them to see some of the stuff, but that's an important piece to understand. Long-form posts are a huge thing I'm going to focus on. I want you to have a real competitive advantage over other people. Articles on LinkedIn are massively underutilized for job hunt. I interviewed the top 5 people I know in the area that are in job hunt, and I said, if someone was looking for a job and they had an article talking about the job, what would that do for you? And one of them goes, that would make it easy. Because now you got sales collateral to give the employer to pass on to you. But it's amazing how hard it is for people to do that. Do what it takes to get those done. You need to stand out. If there were 5,000 applications and you write an expert article understanding a field and you hadn't heard from an employer directly for a while, but you had a contact, and you go, let me just share an article with you I wrote. Now you have a justified way to interrupt them again, an asset, a resource. Expert articles on LinkedIn are fully indexed by Google. If you use keywords, that's the words you think they look for, you can be found on Google. And now without even a website, you're building a presence on the web. A huge resource for you. Because imagine if you were selling and say, we don't have any brochures, we don't have any resources, just go out and sell. Or we said, we've got this educational handout you can take with you to sell that's so valuable the customer's willing to give their attention to it because it really gives them something they need as a way to get in the door. That's what I want you to do is extended articles on LinkedIn. Write them. Focus. Do it. Most won't do it. Usually only the people that are paying me actually do it. Participating in groups. Job listings in groups are free for the employers. It's where some of the hidden jobs are. So when you're looking for jobs, make sure to use that. I want to thank Chris Wellington. He was a tip from him. I've known him for many years in the job field. Use it free until you hit a wall that's such a problem that you've got to pay for it. So I'm not a big advocate of spending the money in the job hunt until you've saturated the market. And then using keywords. Here's your lesson in keywords and search engine optimization. What do you think they might Google or search on LinkedIn to find you? Use those words. So don't just use the jargon of your field, use the words you think they'll look for. And you know that on resumes today. Most are scanned in and they're keyword driven. So look at job listings, see the words they use, go, that's me, they're worded it different than me, and start building your keyword list from looking up job listings. I want you to be thinking now of building an employer-facing profile, and then when you get the job, switch it over to a customer-facing profile. If it's a job where you aren't meeting with the customer, you may keep it as an employer-facing profile. But that's not a data sheet. That's not a boring resume. That's not something that's not worth really looking at. Fundamentals of LinkedIn. Biggest complaint I hear from job headhunters and resources is they didn't take time to get a good photo. You don't have to spend a lot of money, but if you want to, I know someone in town, I'll put them on the resource page for it as a studio, but get a good photo. You know, in my own photo at the time, I thought my double chin was too big, so I got the photographer to reduce it. I had about 30 extra pounds on. A lot cheaper than plastic surgery, folks. Edit your public profile link. That's in my video to show it you. Also make sure in the URLs you reference any other information. You got 3 to put on there. Put a picture at the top, picture that might be aligned with you. If you have a passion for photography and you're really good, I'm okay with you doing that at the top. That'd be great. Just make sure in interest you say love for digital photography. Fill out the past as the story of you that built the professional you want to be hired as. Did you hear that? As the story of you that tells all the little aspects that led to you becoming the professional you want to be hired of. It's amazing if you look at your past at things you think are unrelated to your future and you ask, what did I learn here that helped me now? How many people will be able to answer that question? Or what did I learn that would help me in a future job that I'm trying to get? They'll be able to answer it. And most have not built their whole past like it. Listen to the politicians. And I'm a registered independent, so I'm not getting political here. But you hear their story at the conventions. Oh my God, it looks like they were born to do this job. No, they weren't. Somebody studied their whole past and go, we could tie this to skills they've developed. This will humanize them. This makes them look less crazy, whatever it is, you know, and they bring them up front. That's what I want you to do with your LinkedIn profile. Steps to do it, and this is online for you. Set up a great profile, build the story of you, connect to 10 people, write recommendations, look for jobs in groups, write expert content. This is critical. What's the #1 tip for LinkedIn that gives you a competitive advantage? Write. What's the #1 thing on LinkedIn to get a competitive advantage? A little more. Write expert content. One more time. I'm not going further until I hear more of you. What's the #1 thing to get a competitive advantage on LinkedIn? Write expert content. Yes.